Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Kessler from Kessler Insurance, and I'm here today on behalf of Cheers for Charity New Hampshire with my dear friend Joanne Burchuk. Hi, Joanne.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks. Looking forward to a great conversation today with Mimi. We welcome the Chase home today. So, Mimi, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your organization.
Absolutely. So my name is Mimi Wheeler. I'm the executive director at the Chase Home for Children. And we have been around for some time, actually. We're one of the oldest nonprofits in New Hampshire and also in Portsmouth. Started off at Strawberry Bank as the Chase House, which was an orphanage for children, and then moved to the building we're in right now, which was built around 1910 in Portsmouth. Was still an orphanage at that time. Fast forward to now, modern day, and we're not an orphanage anymore, but we still support kids and families from vulnerable places. So what we have several programs going on at Chase Home. We've got our residential program where kids actually live here, and those kids come to us from either the abuse neglect system or juvenile justice system in New Hampshire. And they're placed in our care, and then we are hoping that they will ultimately be reunified with their families at the end of their stay with us. And then we also provide a home-based program where we go into the community and work with families to basically preserve the family and hopefully prevent placement. And if placement can't be prevented, then it might occur here at Chase Home, but then our hope is that we will continue to work with that family in their home to get their child or children back. And then we also have a third program, which is our diversion program, where we work with kids who are at risk of being charged with a juvenile crime. That's within the Seacoast. And so we have referrals from the police departments, from school systems for these kids who have that one foot in the door with the court system. Our hope is to get that foot out of the door so that we can make sure this youth is not charged with anything, and that they are able to successfully go through our diversion program and be contributing members of society, our ultimate goal. We just, so you know, statistically in New Hampshire, we're one of 4 youth group homes at this intermediate level in New Hampshire, and our neighbors in Massachusetts, there's 26 of us. So it kind of shows you the difference. Obviously, we have a lower population, but not that much lower than Massachusetts. So the need is very, very high for our services. We work with many families in the Seacoast, and we also work with families outside of the Seacoast as well. We have a number of community partners from the state to private. We are treated incredibly well by the city of Portsmouth, both private citizens, but also the city itself. We also have been, like everybody else, dealing with the pandemic. Chase Home is in the category of a long-term care facility, which is the same category as a nursing home. Our kids are not as at risk as folks in nursing homes for contracting the disease COVID-19. However, the risk is still high, and because it's congregate care. So we have a fantastic number of staff that work with our kids day in and day out to keep everybody safe. But because of the pandemic, we've really had to lock down kids and staff, meaning that if anybody leaves the building.
Oh, we just lost your video. We lost your audio.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, you just came back. If I can interject just a question. So how many kids are you currently housing at your facility now? And kind of what's the criteria? Are some of you had talked about 3 different programs, the third program, Kids at Risk. Are those similar kids that may end up living at the residence also? So.
Yep, it's possible. So great question. So first of all, with our 3 programs, it's conceivable that we could have a youth go through all 3, but that's not typical. We typically have kids that we work with separately in those programs. The two that are similar as far as the home providing support, home-based and residential, we might have a child that's placed here and then they'll receive our home-based support. So we can continue to work with the child to make sure the reunification with the family is successful. There's that piece. And then as far as kids and families being referred to us, it's done through the state. So it would be from a child protection service worker through DCYF or a juvenile probation officer through juvenile justice. And this is all within the state of New Hampshire.
Yeah.
As far as numbers of kids, so currently we have 13 in our residential program. In our juvenile diversion program, just come to us on a rolling basis. And we have about 10 on average in that program.
So what are the ages of the Mimi?
So the average age is 16. We're licensed to take 11 to 19. It's rare that we have an 11-year-old. And we want to make sure that we have kids that, as far as the age is concerned, that they're going to be okay living together on the dorms. And we're co-ed. We have a boys dorm and a girls dorm. We're open 24/7. We have 3 shifts going. The staff that come at night are awake overnight. So they're not sleeping. Many years ago, staff used to live here. We don't have that anymore.
What kinds of needs do you find that the home needs, or, even your staff that goes out into the homes? Are they, looking for things from the community, or how can we help?
Okay, so that's a great question. So the great part as far as PPE is concerned with the state, we are provided PPE free from the National Guard. It's been fantastic for us because masks and everything else can add up and be pretty expensive. And all of our staff have to wear masks at all times with the kids. And when the kids go out, they have to wear masks at all times. As far as the need right now, our ongoing need is that we want to make sure that we're providing the best possible meals to kids. We have a grocery budget that's kind of been blown out of the water because of the pandemic, because kids are pretty much with us when it comes to during the day for schooling. We have some that do go to school in person right now, but most are virtual. So we need to provide, obviously, breakfast and lunch for them. And then, of course, we provide dinner. The kids are with us over the weekend as well. The average stay is 6 months. And we also make sure that they do have, as much as they can, frequent visitation with their families. But because of the pandemic, the in-person visitation just now started to happen again. For a while, it was all virtual.
Talk about transition and changing times. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's been tough. I would say the kids are kind of getting used to it, but to do so much virtually, family visits, their therapy is telehealth, and then school virtually is overload. These kids are already vulnerable, at risk. Many have behavioral issues, many have learning disabilities. They've all been traumatized in some way. So living in that virtual world with them has been a struggle.
Yeah. So one thing I'm kind of curious, do you have some, and I don't mean to put you on the spot here, some real success stories?
Yeah, we do. The great part, pandemic or not, kids are still reunifying with their families. We're still doing our clinicians that go into the homes and work with the families, and our staff that work with the kids in residential are doing a fantastic, phenomenal job to really help these kids, repair attachment issues, to resolve whatever trauma occurred, to help the parents, give them support that they might need. We've had a number of kids and parents that have experienced substance use disorder, and our staff and our clinicians have helped them get the resources that they need and the support that they need in order to continue to not use substances. So those, I would say, as far as kids being able to move on and learn some independent living skills, gain some good life skills from Chase Home, that continues to happen, which has been very heartening for all of us to understand that the work that's being done here is important and life-saving.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. So Mimi, if people, they've been listening to this and they get a taste of a little bit about the Children's Home, and either they know someone who may need services, or they want to volunteer somehow, or they want to contribute or learn more in any way, what's the best way to do that?
So first of all, we have a website. It's www.chasehome.org. We're also on Facebook, and we're same name, and we're also on Instagram, same name, and Twitter, actually. As far as volunteering, unfortunately, volunteering in person is not possible right now because of the pandemic. We have to really limit anybody in and out of the building, and so it's limited to kids and staff. But with that said, I often mention, and I actually got a call the other day about someone who bakes bread, and they said, I'm an artisan baker. I would love to start baking bread for the home. That's fantastic. I had mentioned food before. So if anybody is interested in making a meal, bringing baked goods, vegetables, anything like that, we could always use it. And it would be just a matter of dropping it off on the steps and just making sure that whoever is here knows it's there. It's as easy as that. Down the road, we will be able to start accepting volunteers in the building again, and then there will be more opportunities. And we're also in the process of refreshing our website and our brand, and so we're going to make sure that it's very clear how people can volunteer for Chase Home.
Fantastic. Well, this has been really, really interesting, Mimi. You guys do a very important work and really in our community, helping those families in need. So thank you so much for doing that. And thank you so much for your time today to share all about the Chase Home.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It was a real pleasure and a real treat. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Take care.